Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of FoolCraft, and we got a problem. That's endermites that you're looking at down here. Jeez, they are making a right racket. They are all going to get wrecked. I've got to stand here and click for a while, haven't I? And then they all disappeared. That's very convenient. Why did they do that? So I've logged back in and I read a comment from someone saying that this wouldn't work over here because it only deals with regular spawning mobs. These are not regular ones because they've been spawned in by this thing. So that's one issue. The next one is that our power is entirely offline and our refined storage system is down. I don't know what the weak link is here. We were generating absolutely every material from the power that we have coming out of this farm. So I do not know why this thing is offline. This here is potentially the cause of all our problems. And we need a bowl in order to make this thing. Okay, let's chuck that in there. So it can't craft these because it doesn't have one of those. And now it starts doing it automatically. And now our rainbow power will be back online. So somehow that has disappeared from our system here, which is kind of strange. That stuff would have been stored in the storage room inside of discs, and that should be the last piece to get this going. Another thing we're short on here is coal, by the way. Okay, and now this one's off. Jeez, it's a game of running around and trying to figuring it out. Okay, there we go. We got rainbow power. Things should be safe now. It turned on for a moment. This could be another reason we ran into problems. Look at our storage over here. Most of that was red dots a moment ago. So our storage system almost filled up. I have installed a few new ones though. It's kind of alarming that that's happening. And here's something interesting. Last episode we made a cobblestone generator. And then we made a drawer to store that stuff in, okay? This thing has the highest priority in our base. So all cobblestone should go here. We have 26,000 stored there. And if we go and check up on the cobblestone generator, it's not importing anything because it has more than that inside of the system. 105,000. So for some reason, around 80,000 cobblestone is not going to into our drawers and probably just filling up those storage discs. Ah, endless problems in our base, I tell ya. So last episode, I asked you all what you'd like to see in this episode. I suggested the City of Maybe. I had a lot of people say they wanted to see the City of Maybe. I had a lot of people saying that they love the technical stuff that we do, which feels great because I kind of feel like I'm at the mercy of it, but I really enjoy it. But most of all, lots of people saying, Asuma, do what you want to do. And I tell you what, I want to go to the City of Maybe. I have got some serious inspiration for a project I think is going to be insanely cool and will require your participation as well. We'll come back to that very soon though. I want to do a couple of technical things before we go over there. I want to check out these things and do some crafting with them, the neutrons, and also I just want to show you the fixes that I've made to our power generation situation. So if we go down to the Woot farm, you will see that our Wither Skeleton farm has been fully upgraded and it is absolutely sucking loads of juice through this dimensional transceiver now because it's got a full set of these, which means that we are getting tons of coal, which seem to be slowing the system down a little bit. Now I've gone around and turned off the other ones, but it made me realize that we could control these with redstone. So in our thing up the top where we're going to have controls for what mobs get farmed in this big one, we could also have on-off switches for the other ones, like the pigs, for example. We can have this automatically turn on when we're low on the drops that it provides for us, which all sounds really, really good, doesn't it? And I'm holding the wands. I don't have to walk over here. Gotta remind myself of that. So anyway, going over to the rainbow room, we're going to check out the redstone that I did down here. Now, I got some suggestions from some people. I also had a few people saying that this sucked, like, why are you using vanilla redstone? Here's the deal. We're going to replace this with basically one block, and I think that's a bad thing sometimes. I think it's really nice to have something like redstone so you can use it in your own way, using your knowledge to solve a problem. But in the case of modded, there's actually a block that's specifically designed for what we're doing right here, which I guess is okay. And I like doing the redstone. We did that. Now we get to do it the other way. So we can use a power monitor. There's also a graphical power monitor, which just puts this graphic display at the front. And then we can configure this thing. And if you read the sentence here, we can tick this thing on. Emits signal when storage is less than percentage full. So when it's less than 10%, we're going to turn on our power up top, and then it's going to stop when it's more than 99% full. It is literally doing everything that we did with redstone in one block. Now, I don't know if we can put this directly next to it, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and grab a piece of redstone and slap it down right there. We are going to have to put our faith in that block as I place the redstone down. I don't have time to hang around and see if it works. We are going to move on from doing all of that now. But I've just been roaming around the base trying to check up on some issues, and I've realised that sometimes you are the problem, or better yet, I am the problem. I was missing that. So it was confusing me as to why the signal here wasn't changing, because I've only got 10,000 in the system. Boy, that made me scratch my head for a while, but we've figured that one out now. And anyway, we're going to move on from doing this. Like I said, we're going to do some crafting with this stuff over here. And there's only 10,000 ingots there. I'm pretty sure last time I checked on it, we had the exact same amount. Anyway, we didn't need a lot of that stuff for what we're about to make, and I think we're about to go into some crazy territory here. I'm not really sure. What I've set up to be crafted is this stuff, the Neutronium Compressor. Now, what this should do is compress things like iron blocks into an iron singularity, which we need to craft all of these. Well, not that one, but some of the other ones I can click on. What were they again? The infinity catalysts. Yeah, so whenever you see those, you need all of this stuff, and that includes some of these singularities. Now, I should probably double check this because it looks like it's only using 5 of them there, but there are 10 different singularities in the pack, so I figured that I would make 10 of these, right? Makes sense? Anyway, we're probably about to get throttled because it looks like you need a ridiculous amount of materials to make one of those singularities. So there's the 10 of those. I'm going to guess these run like those where you don't need to attach them to power or anything. So let's move over into this space and just plop a few of them down. Now this bit at the top is supposed to act like a hopper, I believe, or a way that you can connect and automatically put items into here. And so let's throw in some iron. And you need 400 blocks of iron to make a singularity. That is not as much as I thought. However, that's blocks of iron. That's kind of crazy. So I had 4k iron in the storage, which means we'd have enough to make 10 singularities, which is really not enough in the big picture, is it? So that's how you make a singularity. But now we again have got to up all of our infrastructure, get quarries running even faster, store more and more of these materials, and maybe even try to automate this a little bit. We could hook up some detectors so that when we got lots of iron in the system, it could automatically make these compressors for us. But that's not what we're going to be doing today. I did just want to investigate that a little bit. We've learned what the next step is for this project, and there's probably going to be many more challenges ahead with that one. The city of maybe, ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived. It's been some time, hasn't it? It has certainly been a while since we were last here working on this shop. And when I worked on this shop, it was very much a case of just building something out of my imagination, you know. This time we're going to take a different approach. I'm going to be building something where I've already done a fair bit of research and got a good idea how I want this place to look. But before we get into that, we have to wander around and see what's changed around here. It's been some time since I was here. This little shop has popped up, and I think when it comes to most of the other shops, it's all about the interiors getting developed along and stuff like that. But one person who has been really building in this area is Mr. B00. Check it out. We now got a theatre over here, and I love this. This is all made using glowstone. Usually I don't like this texture, but the way it's been used here, absolutely gorgeous. World premiere of the NHO versus La Revolution. And you can go inside, the floor design, wow. And you can walk through here and you can go down below to the cinema, which I don't think has been finished yet. We got, what on earth is that? We'll come back and check that out in a second. It leads down here where obviously there's going to be, I think, like a foyer area. And then this bit is going to be the actual seating area. And there's, okay, this is interesting. There's some sort of fighting arena going on down here. It's not what I expected to see. Anyway, you can see someone's been making some plans down here. Kind of hilarious what's going on. And we're going to take inspiration from B-Dubs because he plays on a smaller scale than I do with all these little details. And I'm going to try and take the opportunity with that, with our build today to do such a thing and throwing all of these details. Although we're mainly going to be focusing on the shop front, so to speak. And it is going to be a shop that we're building. It's going to be a record shop, by the way. This texture's interesting. Is that just, that's just regular old gravel, but it's sort of been 3D-ified. And that gives it a strange look. And there is smoke coming out of here. I had a look inside this thing. Smoker is the name of the block, so you can make some particle effects. Very interesting stuff. And over on this side, we've got to check it out as well. There is a subway, and the detail in here is just mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. Even in here as well. Wow, this is just unbelievable stuff going on. There's even a map. Sweet. That's pretty cool. Anyway, we're going to be opening a record store. I want to sell some records, and if we type disc over here, you will see that there is like one extra than regular disc, and this will be nice and easy to make because I believe I have all of these gems from where we've been using our quarry. Then we have some other ones. That one's going to be nice and easy. I think one or two of these are a bit tricky or difficult. And then I was going to ask the developers of the pack about perhaps adding in a few more records just for my shop over here, because no one's really going to come and actually want to buy one of these, but it'll be a fun project to get them for a farm. And also, this is all about aesthetics. It's all about a little bit of roleplay going on over here, you know. And you guys are going to get involved in this, and I can't wait to tell you how. But first of all, we've got to start off with the shop front. I've spent some time thinking about materials, and charcoal is one of them that I have considered using. I think it's going to be used more on the inside than the outside. And the way that we get this charcoal is by, of course, smelting trees. So out the front here, what I've been doing is making a big grid of these saplings and then growing up the trees and chopping them down. And it has made it super easy thanks to the axe and the vein mining and all of that stuff. So let's get a big tree here, another one over there, one on this corner. And guess where the last one's going to be? It's going to be right there on that corner. Can you believe it? No, I'm being silly. Okay, right, let's grab our axe and let's chop this thing down. Bam! It's so satisfying to see that, but quite often you have to come up the top here and finish off the job. So by growing them in big groups, we get a return on the saplings so we can keep growing them. And then elsewhere here in the City of Maybe, there is one of those super furnaces. Hi, I'd like to go inside here, please. So I've been going over here and using this. I don't think it was intended to be a part of this shop, but that is the way that you get in here. So if we chuck in all of that, you'll see it will disappear extremely quickly, go down here and turn into charcoal, which we then make into charcoal blocks. I'll come back here and pick up the rest later. I want to show you what we're going to build with these charcoal blocks. In fact, some of the other blocks that we're using, in fact, all of them need to go through that machine. They all need to get smelted. So in here, I've got some more of my supplies. These are made out of the bone blocks that you make using bone meal in vanilla Minecraft. These are made out of bricks from clay. We have farmed clay, we have farmed bone meal, so we can have all of these blocks in large quantities. And of course, it's over there that we sort them out and get them going. Right, so let me sort out my inventory here. These are going to be the 3 blocks for the colour scheme on the outside of the building. We are going to be building in this space right here. The reason I want this plot is because we can have a long strip at the front, and then we don't need a lot of space going backwards particularly, but I like that there is this border over here that encourages us to make a shop that isn't just a big old square. So that's kind of cool. What we're going to do is put some charcoal pillars. Now this was originally going to be the main texture for the building, but it kind of changed when I thought about my inspiration, and we're building a record shop and we're kind of theming it around sort of 60s, 70s, 80s when vinyls, well, by the time the 80s were around, vinyl started to decline a little bit. But this is going to be a vinyl record shop, and we're going to build like a front for it that I think is going to be really cool. So we're going to have some pillars like this. That's probably a little bit too high, gone over the top there. And we're going to space them out every 3 blocks, and that'll go all the way across the front, unless I change my mind, which I might do and decide, actually, maybe 3 is not enough. It's definitely not going to be any less than 3. Then we're going to have this, so when you're walking by, that actually feels a little bit too low. Let's remove that and try again. So, going a little bit ham here, I think when we step back, yes, we will get the sense of dimension that I'm looking for here. This is actually really nice. I like this a lot, but I think what we're going to have to do is push it back in that direction a little bit. I don't like the way this comes out the front here, but this is the general idea. We're going to have some pillars that are holding up this roof, and this isn't the storefront. These are just actually pillars that are kind of here that the shoppers can walk by and look into the window through these pillars, which are going to be a little bit further back. So we'll be extending this path back into this space, and it's back there where we're going to have the front of the store, and that is going to be just around here. So this is where we're going to have our windows. We'll probably line them up with the pillars so that you don't have a pillar in the way when you want to look into the window, and that's where all the records and stuff that we're selling are going to be advertised. Okay, this is going to be so cool. I cannot wait to reveal a little bit more about this, but I want to focus on the shop front right now. And this is the material we're going to use for the shop front. And then on the inside, I think we're going to bring the black of the charcoal back again. So walking along here, I love that sense of depth. That's really inviting. It really pulls you in. And this just has to be moved back a block or two in that direction, but otherwise it's going to be great. Now, what we're also going to do is put some letters on the front of this bit here. It's there for a reason. We've now created this big flat front, and we're going to put the letters of the record shop name across the front here. And there's going to be more to it as well, but I've waffled on for a bit now, so how about I tear this thing down? Watch me tear it down, boom, it's gone. And we're going to rebuild it again, and I'm going to put it in just the right place so that we can move forward. Looks kind of the same, but the positioning now is just right. And do you know what? I don't like this lamppost here. It's always just in the way. I'm going to replace that over on the other side, just over in that space. And then we'll put our own lighting at the front here. I'm thinking we'll have some little light fixtures that point downwards and really light up the area, because at night it's a little bit gloomy down this part of the street. But that's the shape. I am certainly happy with it. I do feel like these bricks back here might not be the best, so if you've got suggestions, as always, you can leave a comment. Maybe we can mix in another material with that. But let's check out the sort of foundations that I laid down here. This isn't going to be the biggest shop in the world, so in order to make more space, here's what I'm planning. We can use this to reduce the size of these walls. We can go and push this back by half a block. This over here can get pushed back by half a block, as can this wall and this wall. And I won't do it all on camera because it'll take forever to knock all of these out, but you get the idea, right? We're going to make everything feel like it's a little bit bigger if we make those walls skinny, and then it also makes it cheaper to build all of the walls as well. So my idea is that this little space here will be an exit. We're going to have a walkway through here, and it will probably end up being a 3-wide door. Although that feels a little bit too big to me. I'll figure out the dimensions and all of that. These windows are going to stay the same. However, like we did with the half block, what I might do is go for like a 1/4 block trim here and take that off on either side and just make these pillars a little bit skinnier. But I'm really not sure how that's going to look. I reckon it could actually look okay. We'll think on that one, but that's another idea, so we can make our windows slightly bigger. And then, yeah, the layout. Okay, so around the side here, you'll notice some bricks are going off to the side. I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen here, but I've got a really cool idea, and that is to have a truck parked out here. Now, when it comes to the roof, at some point this roof will go back, and then it will go across to the side, and I reckon attach itself to this building and give this part here a bit of like a warehouse feel. So what we've got going on here, I reckon we should trim it. So, oops, that's not what I was trying to do. So these blocks just stop over there, and we'll move all of these around and whatnot so that the alley is a little bit slimmer. But this bit here is then going to be a road. So we are actually going to pull up all of these blocks. We might have a little bit of trouble with these details, and then extend this grey colour back through here, so it's where a lorry could back into and unload records for the shop. And then that gives us an opportunity to step outside the comfort zone and perhaps put a lorry in this space at the future. But as for all of these blocks that I'm ripping up right here, they'll simply be able to go down the side here, and oh, they could fill in that gap if I place them the right way around. Is that the right way around? No. But you get the idea, I think. Anyway, let's talk about the name of this record shop. I don't know what the name of the record store is going to be yet, but I know that the actual name of this thing is not going to be put out the front here. This is actually just going to say records, and it will make even more sense when we build something behind it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pillars, and there are 7 letters in records. RECORDS. That's what we're going to put out the front here. They're going to be in line with these pillars that we have. So I've gathered some wool. We should probably consume a little bit more of this so we can make some letters. Bam. And what I'm thinking is we're going to fixate on this central block right here, but we want this thing to be relatively big so that each one side by side look fairly good, and they're going to be spaced out as well. So I started messing around with a couple of ideas, and this was a sort of font that I thought looked pretty cool. Now notice how I think actually we're supposed to go 2 blocks over at the top so that the font is a little bit taller, and then across like that, and then down here and one lower like that. So we take up like a uniform space, and then we can repeat that space with the letter E. Yeah, there's the letter E. It's not very thick, is it? It's going to take me some time to figure out the font that we need and put it into this space, but that's the general idea. I think these letters are going to need to be a little bit taller and a little bit wider as well, so they look neatly spaced out. But it's going to look a little bit bare the way it is at the moment. I think before we put the letters on, we should have some sort of grid or grill that they would be attached to. The room looks a little bit bigger now that all of the walls have been chiseled, and we're probably actually going to put like wallpaper over the bricks. And the floor, I was thinking maybe we could use this material in places. I've got an idea for how this floor is going to look, but it's probably going to take a long time to get there, so we're not going to do too much today other than throw a little bit of this down. Now the walls will be red in here, so you can get an idea. Doesn't look very carpety, but almost does. I feel like with some work we can make that look good for us. But we need to chisel some of this because I want to replace a material for the lamps that we made. So let's just consume that. Put this into, what one would it be? Replace mode, and then replace this right here because we've got some little lamps on the inside. That's kind of not what I was expecting. Let's undo that. We need to set this thing to same material, right? And then replace. Ooh. Actually, that's very nice. Oh, wow. That looks really good. The texture there is superb. Trodden bricks. I think for any colour you're looking for, if there's a chisel block that's got it, trodden bricks is the one to go with. Just adds the right amount of different colour and texture there. So that looks pretty cool. I put them on the front, which didn't look so great. And you can see the front here actually looking really nice with these little grills. I was going to put them going all the way across, but then I thought, actually, it's going to look a little bit odd with the letters on. And I put one in, took a step back and went, no, that's the wrong kind of scale. I think we need to get this letter so that it starts somewhere around here. It comes out halfway into this block and it goes a lot taller. But it's on the right path, and I think I found the right font to work with to get the right shape. So hopefully we can make that look good. And yeah, I'm liking it a lot. You'll also notice I've added a little road going into here. It's actually a little bit wider than I was originally going to do. And I replaced our little path down here with the silver blocks that Sky used to create all of this. I haven't tidied up the end yet, but I feel like that's the right width for something to fit in here. It could perhaps be 4 blocks wide. Now I know you're noticing that there's one in the middle there. It's because it could go out by half a block. So a 4 wide truck could fit into there. Now I've tried to add a little bit of a roof. I think I'm going to end up doing something with a lot of chisel and bits, like a grill going across here. But to sort of just put the idea in there so I could think about it, I did it like this, and it almost looks good, but I hate this bit right here. I reckon actually what we want to do, and let's start at the front, is put this at a different height. So we're going to zap those back. We're going to then, actually no, I can leave them there, can't I? Place these just 1 block higher up, and then put the bone blocks in. Well, it looks a lot better, so I went ahead and did the whole thing. Yeah, I reckon that's pretty cool. Anyway, we need to get these letters done so I can show you what it is that's going to go in this space behind them. It's going to look ever so cool. This is kind of torturous. It takes 10-15 minutes to make that, and then you step back and you're like, is it now too big? I don't think it is though. I think once there's more letters up there it will make more sense. And this probably isn't the most exciting of fonts either. Do you know what? We might be able to just improve this a little bit by... Now, do I want to do it like that, or do I want to... Yeah, I want to do it with that one. Just by taking off some of these so there's a little bit more curve about it. That does actually make it look just a tiny bit nicer in my opinion. We sell in records at the record store. And while it's night time, I would like to just throw down a little bit of glowstone back here. That's all we're really going to need. I might make that like a lamp fixture at some point. And where is the middle? I think it's right there. And also I've been using these as markers. So you can tell from my hotbar that I found a way to speed this process up. And that is to use these designs. Now you end up using quite a few of them across the shape of the letter. But as I was making new ones, like I basically copied the C to the O, filled in the gap, and copied the R entirely. With the S, I copied bits of the bottom and top from other letters. So with the D, what we're going to do, for example, is copy this corner down the bottom here. Actually, we'll take... yeah, we'll take that one. So I've got to change it to replace and click there, and then it fits that bit in just fine. And then we'll take a corner like this one, because the D is going to have a sharp corner, and then again we can actually just leave it on the default, which is imposed, because it is the same width across. So yeah, making the last letter is now going to be a lot easier to do. That is looking pretty alright. You know, there were some moments that were a little bit stressful, not really knowing where this is going. I just realised it's going to be a bit of a pain, this next bit. So this grill that we got here, I've been umming and ahhing about adding another grill at this height, just the line sort of floating, which I don't think I'm going to mess around with, and then having them go all the way across. The problem is, well, first of all, that I can't place these, and I was just building with the blocks that we need, I think, which are these ones, and now I've gone and rotated that. I hate using the scroll wheel when you're holding shift, because you accidentally whiz those things around. Let's go and put that back. Nope, you still don't want to go down. Okay, there we are. Now we've got to replace that thing and just copy it all the way across, take a step back, and see what we think of it. Oh yes, that's actually really good with that going across there. Okay, that's to stay. It does make me think that having another one at the top level here would also look good, but I really want to get to the logo now, the bit that's going to go behind that. So let me show you a couple of other details I've gone and done. Just put some of the grey stuff around the bottom here and the top as well. It really does just kind of add something when you're walking around that you don't really notice. And then I've also put a line across the front here. I was going to put it at the top. I got distracted because I noticed this. Do you see all of that? It was really strange. I went around and I placed everything and with the design like this, and then I sort of took a step back and went, it didn't place any of them. And I went and did it again and it placed, and I thought that was very strange. And then when I was placing this, I had to double click them to get them to go down. Even though it was on impose mode, it seemed to want to place it on the bottom, which is part of the same block. Very strange stuff. I'm just going to leave that stuff down there now, you know, leave it alone. Well, here it is, the moment that you've been waiting for. That's right, a big old vinyl disc up there. I like that so much, but that is definitely going to get rebuilt. I think it needs to be down a block and back a couple. It kind of floats a little bit too far away from this, and I don't feel like you need to see the bottom of this thing to, you know, figure out exactly what it is. And I've just realized I can use mods to move these blocks. That would be extremely convenient because I don't want to rebuild it again block by block. Now, I'm not terribly happy with this, you know, because it's using the flat textures, and I feel like it needs a bit more than that. But then again, from a distance, it really kind of gets the point across. Now, this is obviously the disc that you'll see in the game, and we could actually change the color in the middle to something different if we wanted to, but that was the general idea to get that across. Now, I also wanted this to be a little bit wider, but now that I've seen how tall it is, I think I'm actually happy with it like that, because I was considering perhaps doing this so each block was done with chisel and bits, and it was like a block and a half, and that meant it would stretch out further to the side, but no, we're going to keep it like that. And when I say a block and a half, I mean for like each pixel. Now, when it comes to the top of this building, like the ceiling and all of this, I don't know exactly what it's going to be like, but I think once we get this in the right position, it'll probably make more sense. So I've pushed it back a block, down by 2, and it's looking very nice now. Very nice indeed. Let's move on from that. It's time to talk about something I hinted at earlier in the episode, that I would need your help. Now, if you consider yourself an artist, if you are able to draw either digitally or with pens and pencils and all that sort of stuff, and you would like to get involved in this project, I certainly encourage you to. I want to make it very clear straight away, the best way to get in touch with me is via email or via Twitter. If you do one of those two things, you tweet me or send me an email, I will get your images. And if you draw, there's probably a good chance that you want to send me some. And you've probably got a good idea right now, an inkling of an idea as to what it is that I'm going to ask of you. We're opening a record store, okay? In my inventory, I've got some screens here. I made an advanced power cell and a screen controller. Turns out I actually needed the ones from Extra Utilities too. These, I believe, only use grid power, and they can take an image from the internet that I can upload there, and they can display it inside of this screen, which is pretty fantastic, right? Well, here's the deal. We want to fill this record store with album covers, okay? What I don't want to do is just use records from the real world. I want to create some sort of FoolCraft lore here, and I'll encourage you guys to make album covers that relate to things in the FoolCraft world, but more specifically, each of the fools that are playing here on the server. I think it'd be amazing to have like a B-dubs album, if you know what I mean. B-dubs with a hat on, holding a guitar, playing some country licks. Something like that. You guys come up with the parody, the humour, turn it into an album cover, and we put it inside our record store. This is going to be fantastic, man. And I've got a couple of examples for you straight away. Now, these are not actually drawn as album covers. These are drawings that Zloy XP made, and I decided to crop them because I felt like out of all the fan art I've been sent, they were the most that looked like they could be an album cover. So I'm just copying the URL from my other screen. When we go here, I believe it detects... Oh no, I just paste it in like that, do I? Oh, that might mean I can use URLs outside of Imager. I'm not sure. Anyway, check it out. Doesn't that look superb? That is from a UHC that we played when I was teamed up with Doc, who's also on this server, so it makes sense. It's got a bit of lore. I just got to say, though, it actually looks really fantastic seeing it here in the world. Now I'm going to go and copy the other one, bring it back to over here, paste that in, and what do we have? Bam! It's the Doom cover. I know it's a computer game, and it's themed around me, but it almost looks like a record, doesn't it? Now picture this place full of records across the walls in, you know, the little cabinets that you could pick up, and they're all based around FoolCraft members and FoolCraft things. So if you got any ideas bubbling in your head, you want to do a drawing, you know where to get at me at. You can email me, you can tweet me, and we want to fill this shop full of these images. It is going to be an incredible project, and you're going to be a part of it, and you're going to make it amazing. Because to be fair, I can't draw. I'm just building the building. You're going to be putting in the thing that makes this an amazing place to visit, okay? So I thank you already, because I know some of you will be on it right away. And I appreciate all the support you do give this series. This is taking it to the next level, though. So, if you've enjoyed this episode, leave a like and be sure to leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this project. I think it's going to be spectacular. I am really digging it, and I cannot wait to get back on here and record again. But that is going to be it from me, this episode of FoolCraft. So, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao for now. Bye-bye.